We know, everybody knows that in order to build self-confidence, you have to have a strong mindset. And in today's video, I'm going to share perhaps the best thing you can do to shift your mindset and perspective to improve your self-confidence. I'm going to talk about something that came up with a client, and I'm going to share an exercise that you can do for practice to implement this technique and this mindset shift and actually learn to trust yourself and improve your speaking confidence. My name is Trisha Veldman. I'm a speech and confidence coach and spoken word poet. If you're in the United States, Mother's Day is just around the corner, and a beautiful, wonderful Mother's Day gift is a book of poetry. So check out my website, powerfulandpoised.com, to find my flowery, pink and white, very motherly looking poetry book, and check out powerfulandpoised.com/shop for unique, poetically infused gifts that your mom would love. So check that out. Just wanted to put that out there. Now, this morning I had a session with a new client, and one thing I do with all my new clients is a little diagnostic exercise to help me get a better sense of their speaking style and really to see how they react when being put on the spot. And this morning my client did something that a lot of people do when I say, okay, go, to do the diagnostic, which is she gave a bunch of disclaimers of like, oh my gosh, I don't know, give me a minute, I'm gonna mess this up. And it's that mentality of I'm gonna mess this up that gets in so many people's ways unnecessarily. So what I told her, and what I encourage you to think about as well, is don't give up on yourself so soon. Don't give up on yourself before you've even given yourself a chance. Because here's the thing. She said, oh, I'm gonna mess this up. And then she didn't mess it up at all. She was worried she was gonna forget the different prompts I gave her. She didn't forget a single one. And this happens time and time and time again. I see this all day, every day with people. And once we work on their confidence and believing in themselves, that stops happening. But it is very common when we have self-doubt or insecurities or we just feel uncomfortable to give up on ourselves before giving ourselves a chance. And we often will verbalize that and say, oh, I don't know how to do this. Don't judge me too hard, which is not helping anyone. It was not necessary for her to say that. It didn't do anything for me. It didn't do anything for her. And it wasn't necessary. She didn't even mess up. And even if she did mess up, still not necessary to put it out there. So the mindset shift that we can all embrace, especially to improve your self-confidence, but really your confidence in anything, is assume that you've got this. Assume you're gonna do a good job. If I give her the exercise, instead of the assumption being, oh, I'm gonna mess this up, let the assumption be, I can handle this. I can do this. The people who assume they're going to do a good job often do a better job. I made a video called Confidence Equals Trust, in which I talk a lot about this concept of confidence, and self-confidence really comes down to believing in yourself to be able to handle something. Part of that comes down to repeated exposure of the behavior. So doing something enough times that you believe that you can do it. You probably are fully confident in your ability to brush your teeth because that's probably something you've been doing every single day, multiple times for the majority of your life. So you don't have to give yourself a pep talk or talk yourself up every time you brush your teeth. You feel confident in your ability to do that. When it comes to self-confidence, in addition to practicing behaviors over time repeatedly that build that trust, we also have to do more of the inner work to undo layers of conditioning that creates insecurity, self-doubt, self-criticism, and all of those things that we all deal with on the inside. And so a mindset hack, if you will, or a perspective shift is to practice assuming it'll go well. And if it doesn't, assume there's a good reason. So the most happy, optimistic, successful, confident people tend to have the mindset of, I trust this is going to go well. And if I mess up, I trust that there's a lesson in that, or I trust that there's a reason that that didn't happen. So instead of beating themselves up for it not going well, they trust that, okay, this is part of a greater plan. And if you have difficulty letting go when things don't go quite as planned, then I highly, highly, highly encourage you to check out my last video, which is a guided visualization for letting go of regret. But really, it's about letting go of that tendency to beat yourself up. And that was born of my own tendency to beat myself up when something doesn't go well. And so I highly encourage you to check out that video as well for a reframe on your relationship to that experience. But the point is, if you start practicing, assuming things will go well, things are more likely to go well because you're going to enter with that more positive state. You're going to feel more confident in yourself, and you might realize, oh, wow, that actually wasn't as bad as I thought. And even if it is as bad as you thought, you didn't need to say to everyone, this is gonna be bad. Now, did you? Probably not. It's not making anyone feel good when we do that. And then, if you're afraid of the disappointment, if it doesn't go well, which is very common. I think a big reason why most of us don't like assuming things are gonna go well, one is we don't wanna seem arrogant, we don't want to have an overly inflated ego, and we don't want to be disappointed if things don't go how we expect. So if you keep telling yourself, oh yeah, this is going to be amazing, this is going to be amazing, this is going to be amazing, and then you go in and it's not amazing, then it's like, expectation hangover. That's no fun either. For more on that, you can check out my video about how to increase your confidence by setting expectations realistically, which I'll link here. But to buffer that experience, that disappointment, that's when you assume that, oh, this happened that way for a reason. And that's okay. This is leading me to the next step. People with a growth mindset usually have that mentality of, okay, I didn't do so well here, and that's for a reason. What can I learn from this? What can I take away from this? So I'm going to give you a very practical exercise that you can do if speaking confidence is something you want to improve. This will help you if you want to get better at impromptu speaking, thinking on the spot, and really just trusting yourself to have something to say in any situation. Because guess what? You do have things to say. Trust yourself to say them. Assume you will think of something interesting, relevant, important to say, because you will. So here's how this exercise works. You're gonna enlist the help of AI or a friend if you can, ever the better if it's a friend, but AI is fine if you wanna use ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or whatever, it doesn't really matter. But what you're gonna do is have the AI or your friend give you an impromptu speaking topic. So the prompt you'll give it is, give me an easy impromptu speech topic. And I say easy in the beginning because you want to set yourself up for success. The more you practice, the harder you can make it. But give yourself an impromptu speech topic or ask your friend to give you a topic. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna notice your reaction as you're waiting for the prompt and once you receive the prompt. If your habit is to respond with, oh, I don't know anything about that, or oh my gosh, I'm so nervous, what are they gonna ask me? That's where the work is. It's not necessarily in giving the speech, which we'll get to, but it's in that reaction. It's in the reaction of trusting yourself that no matter what comes your way, you can handle it because you can. Just like for me, I recorded this whole video and it stopped recording halfway through. So now I'm picking it back up and hoping I remember what I said. This happened in my last video too. This is the theme. I need to get more storage space. Anyway, so what you're gonna do is give AI or your friend the prompt to give you an impromptu speaking topic. And then you're gonna give a speech. So you're gonna talk for a minute or two about that topic and own it. Just do the best you can. Don't worry about answering the question exactly. If you don't know anything about the topic, who cares? You just do the best you can. Now make it somewhat relevant, because that is how you will practice trusting yourself, but don't get so fixated on whether or not you know the content specifically. So for example, if I'm doing it and I get the topic of talk about 80s rock stars, and I'm like, I don't really know much about 80s rock stars, then I could either give up on myself and say, no, I don't know anything about that, or I can trust, I can think of something. I can think of something relevant to say, and I can say, I don't know much about 80s rock stars, but I know a lot about Taylor Swift, so let me share what I know. Not exactly answering the question, but it really doesn't matter, because this is about you flexing the muscle of trust in yourself that you can handle it no matter what happens. And this will transfer to social situations, networking events, parties, corporate meetings. Anytime that you are asked a question that you weren't expecting, what you want is for your subconscious to stay calm and to trust you'll think of something to say, because you will. And you don't have to put pressure on yourself to have the exact perfect answer every time, which is unrealistic. You're not going to lie and make something up. So if someone asks you a question about 80s rock stars, you're not just going to start talking about something else. You're going to answer the question as best you can, or you're going to be honest and say you don't know the answer to the question. But it's a very different energy when you trust yourself to be able to handle it and you go in with that mentality than if you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know the answer to that, and we fumble through it. So again, the work here is really in the reaction. So practice, when you get the topic, ignoring any part of you that says, I don't know that, and focus on, yeah, I can handle that. I got this. I can think of something to say. Because you can, and you will, and it's your life. You have material, you have things to talk about. Now, I'd be very curious to hear how this goes for you, because this is something I do with clients a lot, but I've never shared publicly with just an open audience. So I'm very curious to hear how it goes on your own. And if you enjoyed that and you want to go deeper with that concept, then I highly encourage you to check out my online course called Show Up Sure: Secrets to Embody Confidence for a Lifetime, which is available at the description in this video. And that will give you additional exercises and other talks and topics and insights and mindset shifts around this same theme about how to develop confidence, especially as pertains to speaking. And one-on-one coaching is also always an option, or group coaching as well. So reach out to me at hello@powerfulandpoised.com for information about that. But all of this is to say, the key takeaway I want you to have from this video is to start assuming that you can handle it. Assume that you got this. Assume that things will go well and that you can trust yourself. And then if they don't go well, assume that there's a lesson in there. Assume that there's something you can learn. Assume that there was a reason for it. So in the exercise, if you do a speech and you're like, that was horrible, it's not a moment to judge yourself. It's just saying, oh, okay, interesting. Now I see where I can improve. Go in with that mindset and try it again, knowing that with this exercise, you literally can't get it wrong, because it's just practice. And it's really just practice. It's just an exercise. You're not being graded on this. So have fun with it. But cultivate that mindset of, oops, I fell down, scrape on the knee, brush it off. I'm going to learn from it and I'm going to keep going. And do that with everything in life. And your confidence has to get stronger. It has to get higher. So let me know in the comments below how that exercise goes for you and any key takeaways that you got from this video. Thank you so much for watching.